And a good afternoon. Welcome back to your afternoon 5-State Farm Report. Danielle Drotzman, your host here for 570 WNAX. I want to thank our sponsors, DeSmet Farm Mutual Insurance, Fordyce Co-op, and Total Auctions and Real Estate for bringing you the afternoon 5-State Farm Report. Well, as we continue throughout your program here today, we have John Sandbakken with us. He is the Executive Director of the National Sunflower Association. So, John, thank you for joining us here today. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well, and thank you for having me on your program.
Absolutely. We're excited to get you on and just hear a little bit more about sunflowers and how that's going at the moment and the progress of the crop. So, this past weekend, I was out in the hills for a family wedding, and I guess on our way out there, we saw a few sunflower fields along the interstate, which, to me, they looked pretty good. So, maybe just fill us in on current emergence and progress for the Dakotas for the sunflower crop at the moment.
Well, right now in the Dakotas, we've been seeing about 100% emergence right now. And there might be some areas where there might be a little bit of replant, but in most cases, the crop is up and going. And, from what I'm hearing from producers and just what I'm seeing in the USDA crop reports, the crop is in excellent condition right now. In fact, we had a nice bump up from the week before in our conditions. So it just shows you that, sunflowers are starting to take off and using the moisture that's available.
Absolutely. And are we seeing any states across the U.S. that are still planting at the moment?
The only state that still has some planting going on is in Kansas. And, what's going on there is they normally do a lot of double crop sunflowers after winter wheat harvest. And so those are still being planted. And right now they're about 85% done. And I would imagine here now this week things will get wrapped up.
And what about harvesting? Is there any states doing harvesting already?
There is. Texas, they plant, two crops really. South Texas has a crop they plant in January, February, and that crop is being harvested right now. And they're about 14% complete, from what I understand, according to USDA. And so far, average yields, nice quality in the crop so far. And, the rest of the state still is, had been planted, but the crop is just still coming up.
Gotcha. And I know the one part that everybody probably looks forward to is blooming of the sunflower crop. So as far as blooming is going, are we seeing any in the Dakotas yet, or blooming progress across the United States? How's that going?
Well, with the USDA figures, they're estimating right now about 1% of the crop is blooming in North Dakota. And so that's probably somewhat realistic. I know we had some guys that got the crop in kind of early, and so that's probably there. But really, the onset of bloom is going to happen here that first week of August, second week of August is when we're going to really see things really start to light up with the bloom.
For sure. And that'll be here before we know it. August is just around the corner. So, and I know sunflower fields bring a lot of tourism opportunities to the state and to your farms as well.
Definitely. We've been doing a program with the North Dakota Tourism Department promoting sunflower fields. Our office gets calls all the time with people looking to take photos in the field, do various things. And so we've worked with them over for the last few years here and just setting up a map so that, tourists can have an idea where to go, where to look for the fields, and just have pretty much exact locations of where they can go see them.
So if somebody would be interested, I guess, in letting, some tourism on their farm, they can always just reach out to you and you can get them in touch with that?
Yeah, people sign up. I think we're somewhere between 15, 20 fields right now, but especially if you've got a field along a highway, that'd be just great to have that added to the map.
Absolutely. And with that, have you guys heard about any insect pressure this year, or have things been looking good in that sense, or any update there?
Well, normally we see most of our insect pressure during bloom or in that bud stage. And so far, there's been some reports of moths, things like that, but really, we're a little bit early for that. And hopefully, this year, that's not going to be as great of an issue, depending on what the weather conditions are like and winds and things. But, right now, numbers are really not at that economic level where you need to do an application. But it's something to be prepared for, because I know with the red sunflower seed weevil, that's definitely going to be an issue in South Dakota. You want to make sure you stay ahead of it. And when you see that, start seeing weevil showing up, you want to think about spraying or at least be in the process of it.
Absolutely. And I know, I think I heard that you guys just got approval of a new insecticide for that seed weevil.
It's very exciting news. It can start tomorrow if there were red sunflower seed weevils. But working with the South Dakota Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources, we were able to get a Section 18 label for Vertento, which is a brand new chemistry that NDSU and South Dakota State University have done various research projects on. It shows to be very good on red sunflower seed weevil. So we're very excited that, that'll be available for producers from July 15th till the end of August. And so, with a lot of seed weevils being resistant to pyrethroids, it's just a really welcome thing to have in the toolbox.
Absolutely. All right. Well, last but not least, we always got to take a look at markets. So I guess how are prices for sunflowers looking here at the moment?
Well, we've had a surge in prices, since the USDA report came on June 30 with acres. The oil price for oil sunflower at the plants has gone up about $1 a hundredweight. So it's been something that we've seen just a really nice upward trend on old crop, and new crop prices have maintained that 23, 25, 50 area and stayed very strong. So, but great to see that rise in the nearby price of $1.
Yeah, great to hear. And I guess from the association standpoint, any updates there, anything to share? Or I guess before I let you go, anything to wrap up on?
Well, the big news was getting Vertento. That was so key, and it was just a really good effort by the South Dakota Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources. And if anybody deserves the credit, they certainly do.
Absolutely. All right, John, thank you for joining us here today and taking some time to fill us in on the sunflowers. So you have a great rest of your day. And again, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for having me in your program.
Absolutely. All right. Again, that's John Sandbakken. He is the Executive Director of the National Sunflower Association, joining us here today on your afternoon 5-State Farm Report. Well, with that, we'll take a quick break here. We'll take a look at some local weather, and then we'll round out your hour here with some cash grain numbers. So stay tuned.